It seems to me the reason why God created the world is as a reflection of his own glory. In other words, God desires to create something which is other than himself. The world is not an extension of God, it's not some sort of divine being, it's not some extension of divine life, but he creates something other than himself, which in some ways reflects his own glory, so that out of his love he desires to create something which has its own existence, but for that to exist, it also needs to reflect God's own nature. And so it's as if the world is created as a kind of mirror to reflect God's glory in a place where the creation can enjoy itself and can enjoy God. When you read a lot of the Psalms, they often talk about how the fields and the valleys shout for joy, and that God enjoys the creation too. So that sense that God enjoys creation, creation enjoys God, and creation enjoys itself. When we talk about creation, I think we're talking about creation out of nothing. And that's the classic Christian view of creation. That in the beginning there was only God, but that out of nothing God creates something which is other than himself. It's not an extension of God, it's not a divine thing, it's something other than God. But that's what we mean by creation. We're talking about something physical, something real, something other than God, but built for and built and created for God's joy and our joy. Well, there are a number of passages in the New Testament that talk about Jesus Christ being in some ways the key to creation. You get it in John chapter 1, you get it in Colossians chapter 1 as well, both of which speak about Jesus as being the one through whom and for whom all things were created. There's a word the Greek word that's used in Colossians, which is prototokos, which if you like is very similar to what we mean by prototype. That Christ is in a way the prototype of creation. He is the one out of which all things were made. Everything in a sense is meant to have a kind of Christ-like shape. Or maybe put it using a different image, you think of a stick of rock and there's lettering that runs right the way through the rock. So wherever you cut the rock, you see the lettering that's there. Every part of creation speaks of something of the character of God. So you look at a mountain, it tells you something about the steadfastness and the longevity and the faithfulness of God. You look at the sea, and the sea says something about the boundless mercy of God, because it just goes on beyond the horizon. Within the Genesis story, we get this picture of this wild growth of creation. But the human calling is to some way bring order to that growth. So it's not unruly, it's not like a garden that just runs out of control. The human beings are meant to be those who bring order and beauty to that creation. There's a very interesting verse in Genesis chapter 2, verse 15, which talks about two roles for the human race within creation. But we are to reflect God's image within the world, and in his name, both develop and care for the creation, not to allow our working of creation to end up destroying it at the same time. It seems to me that if we say that our purpose is to somehow escape from this world into some spiritual world, we're actually saying that the creation is not actually good. It's a sort of secondary thing, it's not very good. Whereas it seems to be the scriptures say to us again and again that creation is good. It's good that we have bodies. It's good that we are in a physical world. Yes, sometimes our bodies creak and they get older and then we struggle with them, but they're still good things. Jesus, when he is resurrected, is not resurrected into some spiritual sort of ethereal world, but he's given a resurrection body, an actual body that can be seen and touched and felt, as Mary did in the garden. And that's our destiny. That our frail bodies will be replaced not by doing away with the body, but the transformation of the body into these new resurrection bodies within a renewed heaven and a renewed earth.